In this Gauntlet video, we're going to take a look at a really cool blade which comes to the Gauntlet all the way from Kathmandu, Nepal. It is the Ex Gurkha House 13-inch Kukri #1. Coming up on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. So, the folks at the Ex Gurkha House were kind enough to send the Gauntlet one of these really cool blades so we could run it through its paces. And this is a real deal, folks. This is a Khukri from the birthplace of Kukris, Nepal. This is actually the current issue for the Gurkha Army Khukri. And I think they don't probably, this is probably not their primary offensive weapon anymore, but they carry this certainly for ceremonies, and they probably carry it just in case too. But it's man, this thing is really cool. It's really sharp. It's a big, gigantic hunk of steel. It really feels great in your hand, and it looks really cool too. So let me take you down to the old stump top, and we'll get to doing some of that Kukri stuff. Okay, first of all, I want to show you, by the way, this thing comes with a certificate of authenticity, and you can see it says right there it's from Kathmandu, Nepal. So I think that's pretty cool. So before we get to doing some of that Kukri stuff, let's take a look at the specs on this thing. First of all, the blade steel is what they call highly graded carbon steel from car and Jeep leaf springs. They call it 5160 steel. The handle is water buffalo horn, and the scabbard is water buffalo leather on the outside, and it is pine wood on the inside, so it's a very solid scabbard. Something else that's pretty cool, back of this thing, it comes with a little mini knife. This is called the Karda, which is used for skinning small animals such as rabbits. And then this is called the Chakmak. I'm probably pronouncing this horribly, but this is for sharpening the blade and or striking spark from a flint. So pretty cool little bonuses there. And then it's got the two straps on back here and some decorative lacing here, I guess, to hold the strap thing on, and the brass on the end of it. Also got like a brass pommel here. Let's talk about the specs a little bit more. First of all, this spine is about 7/16 of an inch thick here at the thickest part. I mean, that's a big stinking chunk of steel. And it's hardened, I guess, in different parts of the blade are hardened differently. So the spine is 20 to 25 Rockwell hardness. So I guess you could beat on that. You don't have to worry about it cracking. The belly is 45 to 46, and the edge is 58 to 60. So it's several different hardnesses depending on what the intended use of each part of the blade is, I guess. Again, it is a 13-inch blade. The overall length is 17.5 inches, and the handle length is 4.5 inches. And it weighs about 30.5 ounces. So this thing is almost 2 pounds of sheer destruction. So you see it's got this hand cut groove in it here and here. And what they're saying that's for, that is the serves as a conduit for blood on the blade to drip out, thus preventing it from soiling the hilt, as well as a device for catching and neutralizing an enemy blade. So if you're fighting, you know, the tip of a blade can catch that right there, because these things are designed primarily for fighting knives. This is actually the most common and popular Kukri among the Gurkha soldiers. It's provided to all the British Gurkha soldiers during enlistment, and it's retained by them throughout their army career. It's inspected regularly by an officer. That's usually used during parade and duty. So this is a pretty cool tool for sure. So let's see how well it does some of that Kukri stuff. First of all, let's just do a little chopping, okay, with this piece of wood right here. I'm not sure what kind of wood this is, but let's just see how well it chops. How about that? You got to find the sweet spot on this blade. But once you find it, wow, it chops pretty stinking good. I think the sweet spot's about right here for me. Let's see. All right. All right, so now we got us a good baton. Let's try the baton in this little log right here. Now my suspicion is that this log is not very solid, but we'll see. This is a big old chunk of 13-inch blade. We should be able to baton some stuff with it, so let's bang it in there and see. Yeah, that's what I thought. This log's not super solid, but The knife, on the other hand, is solid as a stinking rock. Get out of here. Okay, so not much doubt about the ability of this thing to baton. I mean, seriously, look at that. Let's see how well it does some knife stuff. If you're making spikes to put in a tiger trap, this could be a very handy thing to have. I'm trying to see how well it might do some finer tasks. Let's see if I can split this out here. Okay. This is pretty fibrous wood. I don't know if it's going to feather or not, but we'll just see what we can do with the old Khukri here. Obviously not the design intent for this thing. It's just so big and unwieldy. This is really a fighting knife. That's what it's designed for. But what I thought I would do, get my old trusty piece of fat wood out here. That is not, by the way, choil. That will hurt your finger. So let's see if we can carve us off some of this here fat wood. I've used a two-handed method because this blade is so thick. You know, it just doesn't have a super fine carving edge on it. That's not what it's really designed for, again. But with a little bit of care, I think you can probably get some nice little shavings here. Let's just see. So we got a little pile of fat wood here, not really fine. We'll see. I don't know if the back of this thing is even going to come. I don't think it's going to strike a ferro rod. Well, I was wrong. Now let's try again. We'll try this little finger choil here, see what happens. Let's try this. In a case of emergency, you do what you got to do, right? Here we go. Okay. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Okay, so that was some Kukri stuff that we did. Trying to do a standard set. This is not a standard knife by any stretch of the imagination, but I tried to do some standard tests with every knife. We did some chopping. It does pretty good if you find the sweet spot, which is about right here, for me anyway. It's a gigantic, huge hunk of steel, properly tempered for batoning, so it's going to baton fine. Carving is not its strong suit, but you can, if you take your time, you can get what you need to get done with it probably. And it does come with other small knife for skinning or whatever. And then striking a ferro rod, it basically failed. I wound up having to use the edge, But we were able to get a fire started, so, which is the main thing if you had to have this. This was your only blade. Since this is a fighting knife, I think one of the attributes that is very important in any fighting style knife would be balance. So, I'll tell you what, balance testing a 2-pound kukri, it's a job. Okay, well that is the Ex Gurkha Kuhkuri House 13-inch #1 Kukri. It's been a Gauntlet review. You can check out all the other reviews on this knife and every other item on the Gauntlet by going to thegauntlet.tv. And I hope you've enjoyed this. I think this is a really cool knife, again, all the way from Kathmandu, Nepal. I mean, it don't get much cooler than that, right? So as always, thanks for watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for clicking that thumbs up, for sharing this video with all your friends, for watching all those ads, and thank you so much for shopping on Amazon through the Survival on Purpose links. I really appreciate the support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. See you next time. I done pulled the handle off my ferro rod. Well, and you absolutely can tell this did not come off of a factory floor. All right. Oh. Don't think you're striking a ferro rod with that either.